All right, well, let's get started. Good morning, everybody. Thanks again for joining us. This is our third edition of the Jeff and Mark Wednesdays with Jeff and Mark. So I appreciate you jumping on. Hopefully, everybody's finding finding some value in here. And like I said before, we do encourage interaction. So we're going to go over a lot of different topics. So please, if you have some feedback or would like to chime in, we'd love to hear from you. It doesn't just need to be me and Mark talking through this. So I want to start off with two things. One, the governor had his directive came out, I think, Monday or Tuesday, with how he's going to start opening up the state. So tomorrow or Friday, you're going to receive a video email from us, as well as a policy of how we are going to start reopening the offices. I know we've left them open for agents when they need to come in. But if you want to actually start spending time at the office, we want to make sure that we have those policies and procedures over to you, and you'll have those within the next 48 hours. We are going to still let leadership and admins have the choice of whether they want to be working from the office or not. Some are in higher risk categories. Some are taking care of people in higher risk categories. So we really don't want to put anybody's health in jeopardy as we start going back to a little bit more normalcy at the offices. So, that's good news. We're excited to allow that to start happening again. And we'll have that directive over to everybody here shortly. So, I wanted to start, is it okay if I start off with a market update this morning? Is everybody finding those valuable that we've been doing? I want everybody to see what we're seeing, the different trends we're seeing. And then please, if you've got questions when I finish, please feel free to ask me before we go on to the next topic. So I'm going to share my screen again with everybody. So I want to start today with what I've been starting with before. And these are MLS stats. So once again, I can't combine these. I know I have some people from Firelands in here too, so I apologize. It's not including those Fireland stats, but from what I've been able to see in the research I've done, we're seeing a lot of these same trends in that market. So this chart I'm showing everybody right now is the weekly pending charts for Yes MLS. And this is showing all properties that have gone under contract weekly since November. And I want you to see this trend. We had a great first quarter. First quarter starts right here. And we had about 1,000 homes under the market or under contract on the market in January. That's gone up. We saw the dip. We talked about this last time. That dip really started happening about the second week of March. Those were level. We dipped down. Now, look at last week. There were 1,400 homes that went under contract in Yes MLS. And that was actually, believe it or not, we had a great first quarter. But I want everybody to see this. This is the highest week of pending transactions since the beginning of the year. So things are peaking. They're going up quickly, and we have a very, very strong buyer demand. Those are all good things. But when I show you, hold on, when I show you supply and demand, we touched on this a little bit last week, but once again, this is our first sale inventory in the MLS over the last 6 months. You can see that general decline. Like I said last week, you see this decline usually, but now going into February, you usually start to see it go up again. It's actually going down and continuing to go down. And this brand new homes on the market, you're seeing the same trend. It's leveled off a little bit, but still significantly lower than where it needs to be. So pricing is continuing to stabilize and increase. We're not seeing any real pressure on pricing. Obviously, when you have low supply and high demand, pricing is going to start actually going up. We anticipate that, and we anticipate that to continue going into May. With interest rates being as low as they are, we are anticipating, actually based on conversations I've had with some of our leadership, at Your Home Financial, that we may actually see rates on 30-year fixed under 3% in May. That's what some of the models are trending. these are great signs, and we're seeing really good indication that we're coming out of this and coming out of it pretty quickly. However, I think everybody sees what's on the horizon here. We are going to continue to see a huge inventory issue. There's just not enough homes on the market for the demand that we're having. So, you know, when we talk, and we're going to have further conversation about this when we go a little bit further, when we're having conversations with our buyers, when we're having conversations with our sellers, you know, they need to understand this. They need to understand what's truly happening right now in the market. I will send everybody that's on this call, when I send you the video, I'll send you guys the charts that I just went over here, so you can share these with your clients as well too. But it's very interesting information. The other thing I want to show everybody is, let me see where it's at. Okay, this is that COVID chart I showed you guys from before with showing time. We're seeing that increase in showings continue right now throughout the state. We're 27% off of where we were for showings last year, which really isn't bad considering we're in the heart of the spring market. If you go over here, that's really positioning us about, I would say somewhere in February's numbers right there with showings. So, you know, we're seeing a tremendous increase in the amount of showings that's happening as well too. There's one more chart I may come back to. I thought I had it up here. Give me 1 second. Oh, there we go. As much as you guys know, I'm not the biggest fan of Zillow. They do have some good data. And our rep from Zillow, I'll send this to everybody as well, sent me this. And this goes over all the major markets in the country. And it's pointing to listing activity. So it shows you here, we're seeing an increase in listings. We saw a big drop, but that started to change around the 14th of April. We're starting to see more and more homes at the market. We're 37% down in listings right now over last year. Now, this is taking the entire year into consideration, not just COVID time, but the entire 2020. And it's showing the listings are most down in these cities. And you start with Pittsburgh, they're down 68% for the year. Detroit's down 64. New York's down 57 if you average the whole year. We're higher on this list than I thought we were going to be. We're down 36.9, which I just said 37%. But if you look at Columbus, they're only down 21%. Cincinnati's down 14%. So, you know, they're faring a little bit better on listing inventory than we are here. Pending sales found those same trends that we just went over through MLS data. And then for sale activity. So back in 2013, we had about 15,000 homes on the market. In the Cleveland demographic, we're down to 8,000. Now this isn't the whole, or almost 9,000. This isn't the whole MLS. This is just the Cleveland demographic on what Zillow takes into consideration. This is the last one. I went over this on a couple of the meetings yesterday, so I apologize if some of this information repeats itself. But this is a home value tracker over the course of many years. I think this starts actually in the 90s, in actually 96, and goes. You could see the housing crash that we had in 2006. We peaked at right around 157 was your average sale price. Obviously, that declined. We bottomed out around 2012. We started going up. But look at this. We've just now surpassed in the Cleveland demographic the levels we were at prior to the Great Recession. So we're right now approaching 160, which is great. But we're just now getting past that level. Once again, supply and demand. We haven't run into a lot of appraisal issues recently, which is great because we're seeing such a low supply right now and such a high demand. I am anticipating a severe increase in pricing over the next 4 or 5 months based on the inventory that we have right now. Obviously, we're expecting more people to open up and put their home on the market in May. As the state starts to open up a little bit more, people are more comfortable. But these are things that you really want to share with your sellers so they understand truly what's happening and what's happening in the market. So I believe that's all the market data I wanted to share with everybody. Is there any questions on anything that I just shared? Comments? We got some really bad feedback going on. If everybody could check to make sure they're muted. That's Joe.
Joran.
Joran, can you mute, please?
Oh, I'm not muted. I'm sorry.
That's okay. And Joe there. Okay. All right. So any questions on the data that we went over? Comments?
I had a question, Jeff, regarding is there any information on the price range of those homes that are hitting the market right now? If they're the low end or
I don't have that. That's a good question, Sandy. I don't have that right now. I can try to dig that up for you guys and see, okay, what price range is truly hitting the market right now. I know that varies a lot.
Yeah, because I'm wondering if it's bank owned coming back on the market right now.
No, guys, we're not seeing. Okay, here I can tell you that right now, we are not seeing an increase right now in bank owned properties. I am not going to predict the future, but I lived through that last recession, and that was a doozy. That was a bad one. I think a lot of lenders have learned their lesson that they don't want to see an avalanche of inventory. They don't want to see an avalanche of properties. Everything I've read, everything I've seen, we've had banks working really, really hard with lenders to work out payment situations or payment reductions or deferrals on properties so they don't go into default and aren't taking all those properties back.
Well, they still have a huge inventory that they haven't released yet, don't they?
I wouldn't say huge. I mean, there is an inventory there. Nothing like we've seen before. But I have not seen many REO properties, obviously over the last couple of weeks. But that's a very good question. Any other questions, comments on that? Nothing? Okay, so that was the market update. I want to talk a little bit too. In Mark, we've been talking to the agents about different activities to keep them busy, accountable, and learning through this process. So I will turn that over to you, Mark. That's your department.
Terrific. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us on this call. Right off the top, not quite sure why my lawn service came today on a Wednesday when they come on Thursday. So I apologize for the feedback, because I saw them pull in like my body temperature went up. I'm like, oh no, this is not good. So
I can't hear them.
Perfect. Not so far. So
not so far.
In advance. But in any case, so obviously we had set forth the educational platforms for you to utilize to help your businesses grow. So my first question is going to be, how many of you have actually started working on either the Leading RE or the KV Core Success Plan, just by a show of hands? So I'd like some input from at least 3 people that have done it. How's it going? What are your thoughts on it? Feel free to unmute yourself and chime in.
I actually have started the Leading RE program with the new agent, not a new agent, but I just started from the beginning. And even though I know what I'm doing, it kind of refreshed everything. It was like, oh, I got into a habit of doing something not so good. So now I have to get back to the habit of doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Oh, I love to hear that. That's the whole purpose of it. That's perfect. Thank you. Two more.
Short and sweet.
Yeah.
Short and sweet. For our some of us with short attention spans. They're nice 9-10 minute things. It's great.
Okay,
and I started
perfect.
from the beginning just because I wanted to. That's all.
I love that.
Awesome.
There's one of your fearless leaders. All right, and one more real quick. One more person chime in. What your thoughts are?
Mark, this is Edith. This is Edith. I've learned that I'm underutilizing KV Core. I'm only using it to about 25% of what it really can do. So I'm really learning how to, branch out into more of the marketing and social media piece on it. because I'm really just using it as a CRM system, but it's so much more than that. So I'm glad that I have the time now to really dig into it and get the full value out of it.
Perfect, terrific. That's exactly what the point is. So what I love about this is like you're going to find different things and different nuances that you're going to be able to pull from these resources. Ladies and gentlemen, if you do one thing to help your business grow, it was worth the time. It will also help you to self-discover on some of the things that maybe you used to do and you forgot about doing, as we discussed, as our first person was kind enough to step up with. So I'm happy to hear all that. So has there been a product from all of this? I want to hear about some wins on listings or buyer contracts or something that you implemented that kind of flipped this over. So let's follow the same momentum because you guys are doing so great. 3 people that have had some results from the research that you've done. Go right ahead. You're in.
So I have a couple buyers, and at the beginning of these videos, they were talking about buyers that are actually just buying, and then you have your lookers. I get a lot of Zillow calls. It's mostly lookers. So I've kind of weeded out the lookers. So that
Perfect.
helps.
That's a huge help. Yep, good. One more. Perfect, perfect. Someone else. And I'm
Hey,
not
Mark.
beyond. Go ahead. Yeah.
Hey, actually I have 2 things. I did the Leading RE Ninja Selling. I told you about that last week and I thought it was fabulous. So I've been working on like the warm list. But one thing I wanted to say that doesn't have to do with the education, but was like real life education. So I had a house under contract with multiple offers this week. And it really, really, really made me realize how tight you need to be when you're submitting an offer to another agent. Like, have everything filled in, make sure if your buyer's putting a good 10% down that you say that, because we had lots of offers, but it seemed like there was some incomplete information there, and my sellers were like, that this one had it in, they're good, they're like done. Like,
Yep.
you didn't have a second chance to go back and send me a text saying, oh, they can put 15% down. That's not what I wanted. I want it when the contract comes in and a solid contract. I don't know. I felt like I learned a lot by the mistakes that other realtors made submitting the contracts and when I shared them with my sellers. But that's just my 2 cents today. So.
Sandy, that's a great point. That's a really good point. And you know, going back to what you were just saying, you know, we started really recommending this last year, but now that inventory is as tight as it is right now, even more than last year, we need to have conversations with the listing agent. If you're going to write an offer and you know you're going to be in multiples, call that listing agent up and say, hey, what's important to your seller? You know, what could put me in a stronger position, you know, other than price that you may be able to share with me? Okay, maybe it's closing time. Maybe it's, you know, inspections. Maybe it's, you know, who knows? But have those conversations, because anything that can give you that competitive advantage over your competition, you know, all you got to do sometimes is ask.
Right. And on these, it wasn't about the pricing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we had the price, we were good there. So it was just how well everything was put together. Was your pre-approval letter 6 months old? Believe me, that's not helping you any. So it was just stuff like that I don't know. I feel like it made me even a better buyer's agent. I think I put together a really good contract, but it's going to be really, really tight, you know, as tight as it can be every time. So
Fantastic. Fantastic. Thanks for sharing.
Perfect, perfect. One more win. And as I mentioned, I will call you out. Somebody else jump in there.
I just wanted to say that real life was backed up by Leading RE, where they're like, you know, get up in the morning, do your gratitudes, which is great. I do that a lot at night, but in the morning is really good because it starts your day out really good. But the next step was write your 2 notes. And I have to say, a lot of people don't write notes. Now, when I take someone through a house for a showing, I always write the seller a note. You never know when they're going to get sick of their agent and say, hey, you know what? They're fired. We like you. But the other thing is I have had several FSBOs in the last few years that I just kept sending a note. I would send a note every about 2.5, 3 weeks. Hey, still here. Have you talked to any buyers yet? Are they, you know, have they are they set? Do they have their lenders in place? Stuff like that. And doggone if every single dang one of them hasn't signed up with me. And they have all said it was because of the handwritten note. Not that anyone could read my writing, but at least it was well intended. So I really loved that. And it just reinforced what I was doing.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Yeah, and I'll tell you, people don't do that anymore, and it's such a big impact. You know, it's such a big impact.
So to capitalize on what Sandy mentioned, you know, like how important it is to have everything in place for you. So that's a beautiful, beautiful thing, just because now you're showing up like shiny, sparkly, prepared, gleaming. Well, all the educational platforms that we offer to you are going to help that along. So I think that's fantastic. I'm happy to hear that you're gaining some benefits from the resource that we're providing you with. So that I think is fantastic. Moving on from there. So now the big question is, now what? Now what? So you completed all the platforms. Now you're better educated. You're participating in our meetings. What do you do now? Like, what does that look like? What is your procedures that separate you from the rest of the agents? So that's kind of the topic we're going to discuss moving further.
Yeah, and it's, you know, we touched on this lightly, but I want to go deeper with this. Everybody's sort of peeking their head out the window again. You know, coming out the gopher hole and saying, okay, is it safe to live again, right? And I mentioned this last week, I believe on this call, I can't remember if it was this one or not. They don't know. They don't know, right? The only thing they know about real estate right now or about the housing market is what they're reading or what they're seeing. And I'll tell you, I've read articles every single day on real estate that goes to, oh my gosh, we're heading for a terrific market, to we're going to go into the worst recession we've ever seen in our lives, okay? There's no consistency. People want facts. People want facts, and you have those facts. You are more valuable to buyers and sellers right now than you've ever been in your entire career because they're scared to death. There may be a need there, and they don't know how to navigate these waters because they can't get the correct information. So education, if we talk about one tool right now that's most important to our buyers and sellers, it's education. And when we talk about education, we got to be responsible with that. Because when somebody comes to you and says, hey, listen, I have safety concerns about listing my house, you give them the facts and let them make their own decision, but don't talk them out of their safety concerns, okay? You got to be very careful. There's a fine line you walk right there, but you have to educate them. Let them know what the market's truly doing. If you're working with the seller right now, hey, listen, inventory is lower than it's been in many, many years. We're getting multiple offers on properties very, very quickly. Things are going under contract very, very quickly. You know, we're doing different things to minimize the amount of people in the property at any given time, or, you know, requiring the gloves or the masks, or, you know, advising them when they're walking through, turn all the lights on, open all the doors, you know, don't touch anything, all these different things that we've been talking about over and over and over now for months. That all goes down to that education process. Mark, anything you want to add on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, you know, obviously we've all established a new mode of operation, but I think the key is to change the mode of operation, but don't change the production. Continue to let people know, like, yes, we are all amidst the circumstance, but we can still sell your house. We can still get you into a property where interest rates are beyond, you know, competitive what they were before. There's great opportunities that we're trying to kind of embrace during this particular circumstance. You guys are doing it. Most of the agents aren't. Most people are sitting back and going, eating too much, waiting for something to happen. You're keeping things moving. So continue to do that, and we're here to kind of help you through that circumstance. So I think that's going to be the best part of all of this. And, you know, as a quick little friendly reminder with a big smile, our job is to educate, instruct, inform, and advise the public on the real estate market, which we all know is very fluctual. So most of you that have done the trainings have heard that before. We want to be sure that you're staying on top of that concept, because we still have momentum. Market is still hot. The data that was presented to you at the very beginning of the meeting is definitely validating that. So definitely carry that information with you into your business. One, it'll line you up for success. Two, it'll help your clients see that you're taking that extra step to make sure they're protected. And three, like, how great are you going to feel if you list or sell a house? Like, in the situation that's going on, like, many people cannot even go to work. They can't do what they need to do. We have this opportunity that we can actually continue to function and make money where other people can't. So embrace that. So
Absolutely.
That, yeah.
One of the things too I want to touch on when it comes to education that we really haven't spoke about. I had a conversation with our accountant for the company this week, and he mentioned something to me that, you know, a lot of us, I don't think, is really stop and think about. The government just printed $5 trillion and pushed it into the economy. $5 trillion. That's incredibly. I mean, that's like unheard of money. And right now, for people that are in position, what's a safer investment right now than real estate? Right? The stock market's very volatile. Yes, it's been going up over the last, couple months or last month or so, but, it crashed big time in March. A lot of other investments people are scared of right now, but real estate, you have a low inventory, you have a high demand, and you have prices that are increasing. Those are, that's a great place for somebody to put part of that $5 trillion that was invested into our economy over the last 30 days. Yes, unemployment is high right now. Okay, there's no doubt about that. There's a lot of people not working. Now, that unemployment number will start to go down as more and more people start going back to work. I mean, that's a temporary unemployment. Yes, unemployment will remain higher than it normally would going out of this market. There's no doubting that. But yes, unemployment's high, but there's also $5 trillion that just got, infused into our economy. So that's never happened in the history of this country. So that will help, and it will help real estate. So, those are good conversations to have too, when you're talking with your buyers and your sellers. So Mark, anything else you want to say on that before we go to creative ways to find your business?
Yeah, the next bullet point. Yeah, certainly. All of the above is just something that, there's a classic, it's all in the delivery. If you show up positive, you show up ambitious, you show up supportive, and greater than that, ask questions and come from contribution, you will find yourself being that real estate agent of choice. So continue to follow that trajectory as we provide you with more information as we proceed forward.
And any questions on those topics that we're talking about, feel free to unmute yourself. You can also use the chat if you'd like on the side, if you want to bring something up.
Just a comment, Jeff.
Sure.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got a little feedback.
Okay, I just, yeah.
There you go.
Just KV Core kind of ties it all together in communicating. That's the beauty I find of it, that you can tag everybody you want to send a message to and deliver it very quickly.
Yeah, you're right. And it makes it makes it very simple and easy to get to everybody. It really does. Thanks, Ed. Anybody else? I see Joe Lund with a little raised hand.
I want to tell a story.
All right.
because I was totally outside of my comfort zone. I had a buyer that I have been working with the last 6 months, and we just cannot find anything because the houses they like were not available to view. And they sold the house. They live down about 2 hours south from here. So about last week and a half ago, we were out and we were looking at one house, and my seller said, I love this area, but I don't like the house. Okay. But I like the house next door a lot. But I said, that's not for sale. He said, I know. So after we split, I put on my mask, very outside of my comfort zone. Okay, I've never done this. I rang the doorbell and stepped back 6 feet and introduced myself to the seller with my mask on and asked if they were thinking of selling. Well, we're doing home inspection tomorrow.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I am so proud of myself because I've never done that before.
Oh, yeah, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. Yeah, you know what? And sometimes Jerome, it's that easy, right? Sometimes it's that easy. I love it.
Yeah. Well, that was easy because they were going to sell, but and they were nice. But it was quite an experience for me.
Absolutely. Okay, I got Joanne. Thanks for sharing. I got a couple things in the side chat real quick before we go on to the next topic. Can Russell provide a list of bullet talking points that we can follow when speaking to a buyer or seller? Points that will hit on timely issues that they're concerned with? Absolutely. We'd be happy to assemble that. I was actually talking with Mark yesterday, and we were discussing maybe even doing a video we can share that comes from the company talking about these things that you can share directly with your buyers and sellers to update them with this market information. So that may be something that we're going to try to be developing for everybody as well too. And then Jan Casper, is Russell doing any advertising to promote what we are doing to promote safety? We have been doing mostly that through you guys to push out to the buyers. We can. I want to, if we do that from a company side, I want to be a little delicate with that. I think if you watch TV anymore, like if you watch the local news, every single advertisement is the exact same thing. So we've got to be careful. I want to promote safety. I want to promote what the market's doing. But we got to make sure that we're doing it responsibly and something with actual substance behind it. So I appreciate that input there too as well, Jan. All right, so creative ways to find business. So this is something we wanted to talk about too and spend a few minutes with. Now that we're in this market, and Jaron did a great job with that for sale by owner. I know we're trying to minimize points of contact. We're not doing as much door knocking. Not that I know you guys love door knocking, but contacting for sale by owners directly and those sort of things. So yes, there may be still some opportunities in this market in open houses. Right now we're still not doing open houses. Just to touch base on that for 1 second, I don't want to get distracted. But we are still keeping that ban on open houses together at least for the next week or two. But we're trying to play that by ear to see what happens before we open that up completely. But what are some different ways? What are some different ways for us to go after and generate new business in the market that we're in today? So Mark, I'll turn it over to you. We'll go back and forth on it.
Sounds great. So perfect. Like Joran, wow, what an amazing segue about being creative. So I think that a lot of times we think we want to farm an area or we have to reach out to clients. Let your clients tell you where they want to go. Yet let that be your target area. And quite honestly, not beyond doing something like that as well. If there's something that they want, go after it. Look, it turned into a contract, which I think is great. Also, your sphere. They love you. They trust you. They want to hear from you. There's a perfect opportunity just to do a personal check-in, like how's everybody doing? Are you getting through it? So that you're the realtor that is top of mind when this kind of comes back around. Also, coming from contribution with your expireds and for sale by owners, like explain the value. Also present the risks that they take by doing things on their own. How do you know who's coming through your property? How do you know that they're well? How do you know that they're abiding by the safety measures? We at Russell take it very seriously to make sure that people are protected, but at the same time, we don't want to miss an opportunity. So, if you're creative with that type of thing, you'll find more business above and beyond our educational resource platforms that we have. So with that being the case, don't be afraid to try that thing that you didn't necessarily think was going to work, because clearly it does. So I would say try to wrap your head around that concept as you move forward.
Yep, I agree. And doubling down too on your we've always said as a company, and I believe this, I look at any real great successful agent that's been successful in this business for 15, 20 plus years. They built their business on their past clients, and they both built their business on their sphere of influence. They didn't build their business on paying for leads. They didn't build their business on turning and burning. I work with one person. I'm just going to go out and try to develop a bunch of business elsewhere. They did it through their sphere of influence. Real conversations right now, like I said, are more important than ever, and we need to double down on that right now. Has anybody had, and please, if you do, bring this up, because these are some success stories I really want to hear. Has anybody had any good success over the last month and a half going deep with their sphere of influence and having good conversations with the people that they've already sold homes to, or their sphere that they've developed throughout the last, their time in real estate. Has anybody had any good conversations?
Jeff, this is Kathy Dunlap. I don't know if you can hear me. I can't get my picture to come up.
Oh, that's okay. I can hear you, Kathy.
Hello, I'm out of the Medina office. I've got 5 clients who are just on hold to list their property. It's a move of desire, not necessity, so they're taking their time until they've got a better comfort level with it. But trying to figure out some way that I could reach out to my folks and still keep a connection with them. They get a little tired of, I feel, emails or texts or something. So I came up with a care package. I made up 30 of them, put in a bottle of wine cooler, and I found some small, these little red Solo cups. So I put 2 in there. I put in a pack of cards, cheap little videos that you can pick up at Walmart, 3 something, 5 something. A pack of tea, a pack of coffee. Even made some homemade muffins, which hopefully they were drinking enough so they wouldn't taste that they weren't that great. But I made a handwritten note, and it's like I hadn't done that since Christmas, writing stuff. But I wrote a handwritten letter to every person I was taking it to, and stapled it to the bag, and I took it to their home and I dropped it off. The response was, some of them were home, most of them were not, but I would be talking to folks through the storm door. But I got either a call or a card back from every single person. They were so thrilled that I actually took the time and it took me 5 hours to deliver them all.
Kathy, that's fantastic. You know what? They'll never forget
Wadsworth,
you did that.
all the way over to Spencer, to Cuyahoga County. I know I've had young agents say, well, what is your secret to do this or that? And I said, well, there's no secret. If there was, nobody would tell you, for heaven's sakes. But I said, it's how you leave people feeling that makes the difference. I don't care how rocky a transaction was. Maybe there are times when they just were not happy about something. It's how you leave them feeling when it all is said and done. And that's where I get just an enormous amount of referrals through the years.
That's fantastic. That's a great idea in a market like this. It's just something showing care.
It cost me maybe $6-7 for each little care package I put together. Get a little cheap little paper, colored gift bag. You can get 2 for $1 at Dollar General is where I went. So it didn't cost a whole heck of a lot. Otherwise, I wouldn't have done it. But it meant so much to the people who got it. And I was just, a lot of these folks are past clients, either buying or selling, or they're my bird dogs. Yep. And I made sure they knew I was thinking about them.
Yep. Kathy, that's fantastic. Thank you for sharing. I love hearing those. I love hearing them. Anybody else want to share? Good conversation you had, gone deep with past clients, sphere of influence?
I can go next if you want. It's Jessica from Amherst office.
Hey, Jessica.
So I actually went through all my Facebook friends, those 2,000 friends, you have no idea who they are. So I made a list of alphabetical order, and I was like, okay, day 1, I'm going to send this message to these people, and so on and so forth. After I did this, I posted a link on my Facebook message for like my real estate page, and it was a video message because people don't know the difference between a video and someone face to face. So basically, out of this whole thing, I have 4 referrals from Michigan, New York, Wisconsin, and Indiana I can send out. And one of my past clients, since I want to say 4 years ago, I sold them their house. And it's a sad thing, but they're getting a divorce, so they both need to buy a new house and sell their house. And this is all because I reached out and was like, hey, how's it going? Blah, blah, blah. And so if you guys have a Facebook account, you have no idea who's on it, take 4 days and 30 minutes, copy and paste, and it brings you a lot of stuff.
That's Jessica, did you do that through Facebook Messenger?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's a great idea. And in Facebook, we talk about sphere of influence. I hear people all the time, and this is that age-old conversation. Oh, I never built my sphere. I never built my sphere. Yes, you did. You're on Facebook. Facebook built it for you. So, it's all sitting right there waiting for you. You just got to utilize it. And Jessica, that's great. That's really great. That's really great. Anybody else? Give me one more.
Well,
Somebody give me one more.
All I had to do was answer the phone. Someone, someone had been looking for a while and had never gotten responses from anyone who they had requested information from. So these people had been in my contact list for about a month, and they had been calling other agents to show them properties, and nobody would respond. So I answered the phone, and they want a house ASAP, and we're going to go look.
All right. Yeah. You know what? Sometimes if you don't recognize the number, just picking it up makes a big difference too, doesn't it? Yeah. It's crazy. It's the little things in our business that make a big difference. So Sandy, that's great.
And that's through KV, and that was through KV Core. So here they are texting me through that program right now to see just another house. So, you know, KV Core for me, when I came to this company, was awesome. I thought that was the best thing that had ever happened to me. It took away all the stress of trying to contact people that have gotten, that I had no how can I say, no organization for.
Yep.
And put this into a usable, manageable thing that was just absolutely fantastic. So I can't appreciate so much that you've given us this tool for free.
Oh, you know what? I just appreciate you guys are using it, and we got to keep using it more and more. You know, the big thing that we now have time for is education. And Sandy, thanks for saying that. I do appreciate it. You know, but now we have time to truly learn how to actually use this, right? Yep. So many people learn how to, you know, just use 5% of what it does. When you take the time to realize everything that it does and go through the entire training series, you know, sky's the limit on what you can actually do with it. So, you know, I appreciate you saying that, but I'm hearing more and more agents say those things because they're actually diving in right now and learning how to use it. So thank you, Sandy. All right, I want to switch a little bit when we're talking about creative ways to find your business. And Mark touched on this a little bit. When we talk about social media, what we're doing right now is education, right? And hopefully you guys are finding value in what we're talking about. But exactly what I'm doing right now, every single one of you could be doing on Facebook right now. You can be doing on a bunch of different platforms. Some people are using TikTok, you know, is the new one right now. That one's, you know, crazy addictive and fun. But there's really good ways to educate yourself right now, or educate your public right now using systems like Facebook. So what I'll say is, you know, Facebook Live's fantastic. Market updates, you can go in and do exactly what we just did and do a market update and blast it out to your friends on Facebook. You can even boost that and blast it out to a bunch of people in a city that you want to focus on. So looking at social media right now on an educational platform is more important than ever. I'll tell you what you guys are doing a great job of doing, and I want you to continue doing. Post your real estate activity. A lot of you guys are every time you put something under contract, you're going in there and you're posting it. Continue to do that. What it's doing is it's showing everybody that, you know what, real estate is still moving and that you're still active. Little things like that make a huge difference as well too. So make sure that you continue to do those things, especially on the social media side. You know, and remember, somebody said it earlier, I think it was Jessica, video is just as powerful as seeing somebody in person. Why do I want to see everybody's face on here? Because I can see you. Remember, your sphere of influence, your clients, your friends, your family members, they feel the same way. When you're doing these KV Core leads, when you get these leads, like Sandy was saying, you know, you can have video responses to those leads as well too. You can actually set up, if you're a little bit more techie on KV Core, you can actually send video replies that go out to each one of those buyers or sellers with a video message to them while you're trying to actually contact them through the phone or email or so on and so forth, so that they see a face of the name as well too. Landing pages. So we talked KV Core, landing pages, squeeze pages. I know a lot of us were spending money with Zillow. A lot of us were spending money with Realtor.com. Some of you guys still are, and a lot of that is a significant investment. A lot of those same buyers and a lot of those same sellers, you can get the exact same people using landing pages and squeeze pages from KV Core at a fraction of the price. You know, average Zillow lead may cost $50, $60 in some cases. I've seen it as high as 80 or 90. You know, what we're doing, and when we generate leads through squeeze pages and landing pages, we're generating those same leads for $1 to $3. So it's much more effective, cost effective to do those things. You just need to follow up with them. You know, if you get a lead, call the lead. You know, it's like for agents that have been around for a while. I remember I got in the business in 2003, and you know, I built my business when I was selling on floor time. Well, when somebody called, I picked up the phone and I spoke to them. You know, same thing needs to happen when you get those internet leads. I know it's crazy, but you know, the average response time is not good. So whether it's phone, email, text, you know, it's the basics. Zillow's biggest problem last year when it came to leads, they said 50% of the leads that buyer agents were paying for were never called back once, and the agents were paying for the leads. That just blows my mind. So remember, communication is so important. When you get those leads, communicating with them very, very quickly. They want that response time. So anything else you want to add to that, Mark, when it comes to creative ways to build your business right now?
So, I mean, all of these are very viable tools that are very, very clear. You know, honestly, though, the greatest thing that you can do, any act of kindness or contribution that comes up at this point is going to be a lot more well received because we're all finding ourselves in the same situation. Ask the questions, ask what they need, ask what their concerns are. That's a really good footprint to kind of lead you to the information that they need. And you're gathering information. If you're kind of yourself stuck on your value proposition, like find out what they want, find out what the people want. It's going to give you a clearer path on how you can provide them with what they're looking for. So ask the questions and come from contribution. You know, basics, as we talked about early on in the meeting itself.
Yep. And realize when we talk about education, it's not just about what's happening in the market. It's what's happening on the lending side. It's what's happening on the title side. You know, they need to know that rates are approaching 3% right now on 30-year fixed. They need to know that, you know, you can still get a loan with less than 20% down, even though some lenders out there are requiring 20% down. They need to know these things. And, you know, we've got a great group of loan officers with Your Home Financial that is very educated on what's happening. They're happy to do these Zoom calls with you on a one-on-one basis and answer your questions as well too, so you can communicate that effectively with your clients. We talked about this before. Obviously, 30-day closes aren't great right now. Those aren't recommended. I mean, but 45 days, we're closing stuff 45 days all day long right now. So, you know, all that comes down to the educational process that we were talking about to make sure you understand the information so you can relay it to your buyers and your sellers. Mark, last thing I want to touch on. Oh, we're running late on time here. We're running late on time. The wait and see conversation. I'm going to wait and see what happens. How many have heard that from a buyer or a seller in the last week, right? Or a couple months. This is a difficult conversation because, like we said, if it's safety, we want to present them with facts and let them make their own decision. What I don't want you to do is to have a conversation with somebody, they're in a high risk category, and you talk them into listing their house. That's not, we can't be doing those things. Buyers and sellers need to make their own decisions on their safety. And, you know, if they're comfortable listing their house, viewing homes, all you can do is present the facts. So somebody calls and says, hey, I'm going to wait and see. Okay, that obviously I can respect that. Would you like me to update you on what's happening so you can make a good decision on how long you want to wait and see? And then you go into exactly what we just talked about. Safety is very, very, very important. You've heard me say this 1,000 times over the last month and a half, 2 months. You practicing, you know, it's very important that we continue to do. Just because the state's opening up, this is not less of a threat, you know, with how we practice. And your buyers and sellers are going to feel the same way too. But we can have conversations about what's the market's doing for them to be able to make better decisions on how they want to approach with their wait and see conversation. So,
absolutely. And of course, as everybody knows, we're facilitators, not decision makers, correct? So absolutely. Present all the options, present all the benefits from maybe not waiting, present all the risks by jumping a little bit too soon, but give them the information to let them decide. it is our responsibility. You also don't want to find yourself caught up in, I didn't realize that interest rates went down below 2.99. I didn't realize that. I would have, been able to move and afford something a little bit better. So just continue to provide them with the information and help them to decide.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Questions on or comments on what we spoke about? Anything anybody want to bring up? Don't overwhelm us at once here.
Can you just send out a link where I could start the RE? I was real busy these last 2 months, and I'd like to start those classes if possible.
Absolutely. I'll attach that to the recording that I send out with the other information too. You can get that too on KV Core in the back end. When you go under our company links, it's all back there, but I'll attach it too for you, Rick. No problem. Other questions?
Thank you, Jeff. This is great always. And Mark,
absolutely. I'm glad everybody's on. It's a great seeing everybody. Oh, let me ask one more question. Topics, and put it in the chat right now, or please speak up. Are there different topics? Because obviously what we talk about is just me and Mark, every week get together and we brainstorm on different things to talk about on these calls. But we would love to talk about relevant things that we may be missing here too that you'd like us to bring up. So anything else that you guys want me and Mark to cover on these as we move forward? I know somebody's got to have something. I'll call you out. Rich? Ganem? Anything you think we could be bringing up in this on these calls that we're not talking about yet?
I think the biggest thing is just staying in productivity and staying in action. I was talking to friends of mine who operate down out of state, and one of their people said that we can't afford to furlough ourselves, and that really hit home for me. And I'm sure as some of us are listening to to today, it's like we can't afford it. Right? Because everything we're going to do today is going to show up in our lives and in our businesses 30, 60, 90 days from now. So, it's really like the conversations. What are the conversations we need to be having with ourselves internally, with our clients, with our prospects? I know personally I've stopped having the multiple offer conversation with my clients because they're asking me, like, do you think this is going to be in multiple offers? My answer now is, I don't know. It might be, it might not be, and the reason I've changed that conversation is there are 5 houses in the city of Brecksville that are listed under 300,000. I have the nicest listing and it's not moving. I don't understand why. There's 36 houses in the entire city that are for sale, 5 that are under 300, and none of them, there hasn't been one property that's gone under contract in the city of Brecksville in 2 weeks.
Wow.
I don't know why. So, and I bit myself in the foot when I listed this property because I told them, listen, you're going to have the nicest house under 300,000. It's going to go fast. 13 days later, we've had 8 showings and not 1 offer.
And you know what? It's crazy because it's not predictable right now, right? It's not, because what Rich is saying is happening in Brecksville isn't happening in Strongsville. So why is that? Right? Why is that? And right now we are in a very unpredictable market. All we can do is follow the trends that we're seeing. But what Rich is saying is 100% right. You go back 2 months ago, Rich, you could have absolutely predicted that and said, this is exactly what's going to happen.
That's right.
But we are in a different market. That's a very good point, Rich. Thanks for bringing that up.
So when we're having those conversations with our clients, these conversations need to be very specific to what they're looking for, to the city they're looking in, to the price point they're at, because you're 100% right. In Strongsville, that house is gone.
Exactly.
4 minutes after it's on the market with 8,000, right?
Yeah.
But in Brecksville, it's sitting, and I have sellers going, dude, what the hell? You told me this thing was going to go fast, and why hasn't it sold yet? I'm like, listen, I don't know, but here's all the information. I think we need to be very purposeful in that, and we need to have conversations. So perfect example of something that we can do to kind of not furlough ourselves is if we have an extra $200 sitting around, we can go buy 35 boxes of Girl Scout cookies, because they have, you know, they're supposed to be sitting at Giant Eagles and Dunkin' Donuts and all this stuff now selling these, right? Well, they can't. So I went and I bought 35 boxes for $180. And then I went and I had stickers made. And these stickers say, no matter how the cookie crumbles, when you need a great real estate agent, you know who to call.
I love it. I love it. That's awesome.
Right. So it's going to cost me $200 when I'm all in, plus a few hours of my time to drive all over the place, ring doorbells, drop them down. I'm mailing some, but it's little things like that to stay top of mind, because right. Like we have to be able to do activities, because we're not in Michigan. We're not in Pennsylvania. We're not in New York where real estate's like crumbled. We're in a very good position. And yet we need to not furlough ourselves, because when this thing opens back up again, you read one article, real estate's gonna boom. You read another article, it's not. This reminds me of 2009, 2010, like when where is the bottom? Where's the bottom of the market? We don't know. So we need to get ahead of it. We need to be proactive. All of these things, rather than resting on our laurels like we've done, we can't afford to not be in activity.
No, Rich, you're 100% right. And like I told you in the beginning, the stats are showing very, very positive trends. More homes went under contract last week than at any other time in the entire first quarter, second quarter, the entire year. So it's moving quickly. We're seeing light at the end of the tunnel. And remember, when we talk about that recession, we caused that last recession. Real estate caused that last recession. 100%. Real estate's in a stronger position now than it's ever been when it comes to inventory and price, which should fare very well for us coming out of this too. But Rich, great point. Thank you. Tammy, I saw you raise your hand.
Yeah. Hey, can I ask a question? I just got an email from Dave, and I think it looks like it was forwarded from Bob Colvin about clear cooperation.
Yes.
Can you explain? I mean, I quickly read it, but what I'm reading, it looks like you can list a property on Friday, but not put it into the MLS until Monday?
Till Monday. It's one business day. So clear cooperation, I'll just touch on this briefly. Clear cooperation happened in the NAR came out with a policy last year that they actually are putting in effect starting May 1st for clear cooperation, which means homes cannot be held off the market and then put back on the market at a different time when a broker feels like it's now time to put it in the MLS when I can't sell it myself. So basically, yes, they're still coming soon. There's still coming soon rules in the MLS like what there was before. But what clear cooperation, I can't talk today, what clear cooperation is saying is that when you do start marketing the property, and marketing a property means putting a sign in the yard, okay, putting it on social media, putting it on the MLS, when you start marketing the property, it has to be put in the MLS within one business day, okay, one business day. So if it's listed on a Monday, you put the sign up, it's got to go on the computer on Tuesday. All right, now, I don't know what Firelands is doing yet. The MLS is not fining people. Yes, MLS is not fining people on this until June, but they are putting the policy in place as of right now. So, yes, that is a change, and it's something that we've got to continue to adapt to and make sure.
For instance, like in our Firelands board, if I listed on Friday, I thought the rule was I had only 48 hours in which to get it into the MLS.
Not anymore.
So now I could list it Friday, keep it in, like you're saying, my office as a pocket listing, whatever, and not begin to market it until Monday.
As soon as you start marketing a property, unless it's in coming soon status in the MLS, and I don't really know how coming soon works in Firelands. I don't think you guys have a clear policy on that up there. But as soon as that, if it's not in coming soon, you have one business day to get it into the MLS.
Okay.
One business day. Let me go to the side here. I know I got a couple questions here. If anybody has to jump off, please. I know I'm keeping you way long here. Feel free to do that, but I want to make sure I get through these questions. Can we get a lending rep to speak next week about what's happening in the market? Absolutely. I think that's a great idea. Mark and I can can get, we'll get Paul on here with us. I think that'd be a good idea. Be happy to do that. I used to do a lot of open houses. How will these look in the future? Any thought on how soon they can resume? So we talked about this a little bit in the very beginning. We're going to hold off most likely till at least Mother's Day and see what the environment looks like from there. I've been auditing what I'm seeing in the MLS too. I saw 250 open houses in Yes MLS this week. They were all builder open houses. They weren't in-person open houses. So we're waiting for some guidance from OAR on that. You know, and I'm going to see how that looks. But when we do start, they won't be normal open houses the way they were before. You know, one person in at a time. You know, have people wait at the door if they want to come in and somebody's in there. You know, social distancing, all the stuff that we've been talking about before, sanitizing, wiping down. All that'll play a part. So I know a lot of you are antsy to get back into traditional open houses, and trust me, I want to do those as soon as we possibly can too. But you know, safety right now is very important. We got to make sure that we're keeping that top priority. So we'll have more information on that as it comes. Are there more leading RE classes we can take after Ninja selling? Do we need to start registering and paying for them? So Ninja, what's open right now in Ninja is open till the end of the month. So it's only open for a few more days. I don't know if they're extending that. I do know that there are more Ninja classes that you can sign up for. But if you got into the Leading RE library, there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of different classes and courses that you can take that may not be Ninja specific, but that will be just as good and walk you through you know, any real estate activity you're really trying to grow in. I guarantee you there's a class in there for you to dive into. You know, and if you've got questions on that, see me, see Mark, Bob, we can all walk you through those as well too.
Yeah, it's also important for everybody to know in Leading RE and Institute and the new Institute. Our company, we are a premier member of Leading Real Estate of the World in the Institute. Prior to this, those courses cost our realtors money. Now, 99% of them are provided by Russell Real Estate Services at no cost to you. It's very important to know that because we are providing this for you as a service to help you build your business with us. So they are free, 99% of them, as well as many of the designations. So please take advantage. Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, Bob. Anything else you want to bring on what we talked about, Bob? Anything else?
I wouldn't know where to start.
All right. Thanks for chiming in. I appreciate it. All right. Mark, anything else, buddy?
Just a couple last things that we wanted to address. Obviously, we have the request for the lender coming on board next week, which I think is a great idea because one of our bullet points was knowing the products that your home financial has to offer, which goes as simply as interest rates all the way up to recasting and the other things that we do that nobody else does. Also, I saw something very insightful about keeping your parachute on until you land on the ground, as it clearly looks like we're moving towards kind of the end of this, which, you know, we're all hopeful for that. So just be patient, try to stay positive, try to keep yourself safe. Eventually we will hit the ground and we can unlatch that parachute and hopefully run free. So I wanted to add that into just a general trajectory of what we're trying to do here.
I like that. I like that. Last thing too, don't forget the KV Core classes. We do have a designation. I'll show that to you guys here too. So if you complete those KV Core classes, you will get this and a certificate that the wonderful Chris Reiser is helping me with. But you can use this designation then on any of your marketing material. We'll send that to you as well too as a Russell Technology Specialist. So just another incentive for you guys to to complete those classes as well. The big push I think is May 17th is the last day, 16th or 17th. I can't remember which one. For that first 30-day push, we'd love to have as many of you complete those KV Core classes before then. So let's see, if I had to choose between KV Core and Leading Real Estate Companies of the World, which one to start with? Well, I mean, that's really up to what you're trying to do. If you're looking at lead gen, KV Core is a great way to start. If you're looking at just different ways to build your business, you know, and what your goals are, then I would go with Leading RE. So, but just the key is get in there. I asked you at the beginning of the year and at the awards banquet a couple months ago or a month ago or whenever the hell that was, invest in yourself, right? I'm not asking for money. I'm not asking you to spend a bunch of money on stuff. I'm asking you to invest in yourself. How do you invest in yourself? You get in there and you start using these tools and you start growing. You start growing as an agent. We got time to grow right now, so we got to utilize this time most effectively. Stay off Netflix, stay off the news, start logging into these, and do something valuable with your time. So with that, I know we went over. I apologize. I appreciate everybody. It's great seeing everybody. You know, we enjoy doing these classes. We're going to continue to do them. Your feedback, your suggestions, your topics, anything you want us to cover in the future, feel free to email me and Mark, text me, call us, just so we know to cover some new and interesting stuff. We're not trying to come up with stuff all the time. So help us out. Help us come up with some good content. We appreciate you guys. Stay safe. And we'll see you next week, 10 a.m.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.